Amsterdam turned into the battlefield the entire hip-hop world's been waiting for. Fans thought they were about to see just another tour stop, but what went down has people saying this was the real moment that decided who's on top: Kendrick Lamar or Drake. Drake stepped into Amsterdam with all eyes on him, expecting a flawless show. Instead, what unfolded shocked the arena. Mid-performance, he stopped, pacing, ranting about karma, fake love, and the weight of the industry. Clips flooded social media instantly, sparking #Drake meltdown worldwide. The confident OVO frontman looked vulnerable, and fans questioned if the pressure was too much. Now here's the twist: in the same city, Kendrick Lamar had already sold out a massive stadium, packing over 50,000 fans compared to Drake's 17,000 cap arena. The side-by-side numbers lit the internet on fire. People aren't just talking about concerts anymore. They're calling this the Amsterdam Showdown. So the question isn't if a rivalry exists, it's whether we just witnessed the turning point in hip-hop's crown. Did Kendrick officially cement himself as the king, while Drake cracks under pressure? For over a decade, hip-hop has been defined by two towering figures, Drake and Kendrick Lamar. Each represents a different side of the culture. Drake, the Toronto hitmaker, has dominated the charts with effortless hooks, melodic rap, and a global reach few artists can rival. Kendrick Lamar, on the other hand, built his reputation on artistry, storytelling, and a sharp lyrical edge that constantly challenges the genre's boundaries. Their names have been tied together for years, but never has the tension felt as raw as it does now. The seeds of this rivalry go back to the early 2010s. Drake was cementing himself as hip-hop superstar, while Kendrick was rising from the underground with Good Kid, Mad City. The infamous Control verse in 2013 poured gasoline on the fire, with Kendrick calling out Drake and other peers directly. Since then, the competition has simmered beneath the surface, with jabs, subliminals, and fan debates fueling the narrative. Fast forward to 2025, and the stakes are higher than ever. Drake has faced criticism for repetitive albums, questions about his dominance, and a feud with Kendrick that refuses to die down. Meanwhile, Kendrick has elevated his artistry, headlined massive tours, and earned critical acclaim that keeps positioning him as hip-hop's moral compass. Amsterdam became the unexpected stage for this rivalry to explode into the open. Both Drake and Kendrick scheduled tour stops in the Dutch capital, but the outcomes couldn't have been more different. Kendrick's Grand National Tour packed a stadium of over 50,000 people with groundbreaking visuals and a unified message. Drake, meanwhile, entered the 17,000-capacity Ziggo Dome, a respectable venue but noticeably smaller. What made headlines wasn't just the numbers, but the energy. Kendrick delivered a flawless performance, commanding the crowd with precision and purpose. Drake's night, however, unraveled in front of thousands, with cameras rolling as he stopped mid-set to deliver a frustrated Steeksky, emotional rant about karma, snakes in the industry, and fake love. Within minutes, the moment went viral. The contrast was stark. On one side, Kendrick showcased discipline, consistency, and artistic dominance. On the other, Drake appeared vulnerable, pressured, and perhaps even shaken by the very comparisons he's tried to avoid. For fans and critics alike, Amsterdam was no longer just another tour stop. It became the symbolic showdown of hip-hop's biggest rivalry. The question that now echoes across social media, forums and group chats is simple but powerful. Did Amsterdam prove who really runs hip-hop? The Amsterdam weekend was set up like a heavyweight fight. Both Kendrick Lamar and Drake had shows in the city, and fans couldn't help but compare the two. On paper, it looked like a fair showdown. Two of hip-hop's biggest names touching down in Europe to flex their global reach. But as the lights dimmed and the shows unfolded, the difference in energy was impossible to ignore. Kendrick Lamar's night at the Johan Cruyff Arena was a masterclass in precision and spectacle. The arena, holding over 50,000 fans, roared as Kendrick took the stage with the confidence of an artist fully in control of his narrative. Every lyric hit like a sermon, every visual felt intentional, and the crowd was locked in from the opening bar to the final encore. It wasn't just a concert, it was a statement of dominance. Meanwhile, across town, Drake's show at the Ziggo Dome started strong. Fans filled the 17,000-seat venue, eager to see the Toronto superstar. But halfway through, the vibe shifted. In a moment that would send shockwaves across the internet, Drake stopped the music, grabbed the mic, and went on a heated rant. He spoke about betrayal, industry snakes, and how people were rooting against him. He invoked karma, almost as if he was speaking directly to Kendrick without ever saying his name. The crowd was stunned. Some cheered, others recorded, but many could sense that this wasn't part of the script. Drake's energy felt more like frustration than performance. Within hours, clips of his speech went viral on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Headlines began rolling in. Drake meltdown in Amsterdam. Is Drake feeling the pressure? Kendrick's shadow looms over Drake's tour. And here lies the twist. Instead of rallying sympathy or showcasing his vulnerability in a powerful way, Drake's outburst handed Kendrick the upper hand. While Kendrick was celebrated for his artistry, Drake became the meme of the weekend. Fans drew comparisons side by side. Kendrick's stadium crowd versus Drake's Ziggo Dome. Rant, one was uplifted, the other mocked. But it went deeper than just optics. Hip-hop thrives on perception, and perception shapes legacy. Kendrick's calm, commanding presence in Amsterdam solidified him as the leader of this generation. Drake, who built his empire on confidence and untouchable hits, suddenly looked rattled. For a man whose brand depends on always being in control. The cracks were beginning to show. The twist is that Drake, trying to assert strength, actually revealed weakness. His meltdown didn't silence the doubters, it amplified them. His attempt to remind fans of his greatness became a moment where fans questioned if he could still carry the crown. And while Drake's words echoed through the Ziggo Dome, Kendrick's performance echoed through the culture. His Amsterdam show was hailed as one of the best of his tour, with critics praising the balance of spectacle and substance. Social media lit up with clips of All Right and Money Trees, fans chanting every word like scripture. The timing couldn't have been worse for Drake. Kendrick's win was undeniable. And Drake's stumble made it even bigger. Amsterdam wasn't just a clash of tours. It was a symbolic passing of the torch moment, or at least that's how fans are framing it. Drake's crown looked shaky, and Kendrick's throne never looked more secure. The morning after Amsterdam, the internet looked like a battlefield. Hashtags like #KendrickWon, #DrakeMeltdown, and #BOOGEYMAN of hip-hop dominated Twitter and TikTok. Fan accounts stitched clips of Kendrick's flawless performance side by side with Drake's emotional rant, turning the contrast into comedy gold. Memes flooded in. Drake wiping sweat while Kendrick stood stoic. Captions like one man gave a sermon, the other gave a therapy session. But the backlash wasn't just fan-driven, it seeped into the industry itself. Journalists, DJs, and even rival rappers weighed in. Hot 97's Ebro tweeted, "Drake looked pressed. Kendrick looked untouchable. Narrative is shifting fast." Charlemagne thought, God said on The Breakfast Club, "Drake is showing cracks, and when you're the biggest in the world, you can't afford that." The culture was turning Kendrick's calm into strength, and Drake's fire into desperation. The escalation became unavoidable. Drake, long praised for his ability to dominate any arena, now looked cornered. Every attempt to defend his Amsterdam moment backfired. When he posted a cryptic Instagram story, "Y'all love to watch a man fall, but karma got perfect aim," Fans only mocked him more. Instead of regaining control, he was sinking deeper into the narrative Kendrick already painted. That Drake's era was fading. Then came the shocking reveal. Multiple outlets from DJ academics to Rolling Stone insiders began reporting that Drake's camp was rattled behind the scenes. One anonymous source told a hip-hop blog, "The team is worried he wasn't supposed to go off script in Amsterdam. They're trying to spin it, but the optics look bad. This isn't how you win a war with Kendrick." For an artist whose brand is built on meticulous image control, this was devastating. Drake wasn't supposed to look vulnerable in public. He wasn't supposed to let emotions cloud the performance. But Amsterdam exposed something bigger than a rant. It revealed pressure. Pressure from Kendrick's lyrical assaults. Pressure from critics questioning his legacy. Pressure from fans comparing tours, ticket sales, and cultural impact. Meanwhile, Kendrick remained silent. No posts, no tweets. Just footage of him commanding Amsterdam stadiums like a general. And that silence spoke volumes. He didn't need to respond. Drake's unraveling was the response. The industry watched closely. Was this the beginning of Drake's decline, or just a stumble in a long career? One thing was clear. Amsterdam wasn't just a bad night. It was a cultural moment, and it gave Kendrick more leverage than ever in their rivalry. The shocking reveal wasn't that Drake snapped. It was that his own team may not believe he can stop Kendrick's momentum. And for Drake, that's more dangerous than any diss record. The ripple effect of Amsterdam was immediate and massive. Fans weren't just debating lyrics anymore. They were treating Kendrick versus Drake like a heavyweight championship fight. Twitter Spaces filled up with thousands of listeners dissecting every bar from "Not Like Us" to "The Heart Part 6", while YouTube live streams titled "Did Amsterdam End Drake?" pulled in record views. TikTok became a war zone. Clips of Kendrick's Amsterdam performance were set to dramatic soundtracks, labeled "This is how legends are made." Meanwhile, Drake's viral meltdown clip was turned into skits, parody songs, even AI remixes. One TikToker mocked. Kendrick performed a victory lap. Drake performed a therapy session. The memes only widened the perception gap. Kendrick, the composed conqueror; Drake, the shaken star. But the reactions didn't stop with fans. Industry voices started weighing in, and that's when the feud officially transcended hip-hop. NBA players like Ja Morant and Jason Tatum reposted clips of Kendrick's crowd chants with captions like this: "The energy we need." WNBA star Angel Reese, who herself has been a trending headline magnet, liked multiple pro-Kendrick posts, and fans caught it instantly, sparking headlines like "Even Angel Reese picks sides in the rap war." Radio hosts and podcasters fanned the flames too. Joe Budden, long critical of Drake, called the Amsterdam show the moment we all saw cracks in the armor. Meanwhile, Gilly Da Kid on Million Dayla's Worth of Game said bluntly, "Drake's a superstar, but Kendrick got him looking like the underdog." For years, Drake dominated not only the charts, but also the commentary cycle. Now, the conversation. Was Kendrick's playground? Even celebrities outside hip-hop threw in their opinions. Actor Michael B. Jordan reposted a Kendrick clip with fire emojis. Comedian Drewski joked, "Drake about to drop an album called Emotional Support Tour." The piling on made Drake's situation worse, because once the culture decides you're slipping, the narrative snowballs fast. Behind the scenes, industry executives were reportedly nervous too. Billboard insiders whispered that Drake's tour momentum could take a hit if the perception of him cracking spread further. Meanwhile, Spotify data showed a surge in Kendrick's streams after Amsterdam, especially for tracks like DNA and Not Like Us. Numbers don't lie, and fans were voting with their playlists for Kendrick. This was a dream scenario, without saying. A word, he was shaping culture. Fans carried the message, celebrities amplified it, and even critics who used to hedge their bets leaned toward his side. Drake wasn't just fighting Kendrick anymore, he was fighting public perception. And that's a battle no artist can fully control by the end of the week. It was clear, Amsterdam wasn't just a concert, it was a turning point. Fans saw a king looked vulnerable and another rise stronger than ever. Just when the dust seemed to settle after Amsterdam, the feud took an even darker turn. What most fans didn't realize was that while Kendrick was celebrating his victory lap, Drake's team was quietly plotting the counterattack. Industry whispers claim Drake's camp has been working with ghostwriters, engineers, and even AI producers around the clock to craft the nuclear response. Sources close to OVO hinted that Drake is holding back something far more personal, a track that reportedly doesn't just attack Kendrick, but threatens to expose private details about TDE's inner circle. If that's true, this beef could escalate beyond music into dangerous territory. But here's the twist. Kendrick seems unfazed. Insiders from his camp revealed that he's been recording non-stop since the Amsterdam show, and according to one producer, if Drake fires back, Kendrick already has 2 more clips loaded. That statement alone has sent shockwaves through hip-hop. Fans are now speculating that Kendrick might be preparing a full DSEP, something the culture hasn't seen since the Nas vs. Jay-Z days. Meanwhile, Drake's upcoming shows in London have become the next battleground. Social media is flooded with anticipation. If Kendrick shows up in Europe again, it's game over. The tension is so thick that even ticket holders admit they're not just going for the music, they're going to witness history. And here's the cliffhanger no one saw coming. An unverified but fast-spreading rumor claims that a secret Kendrick feature is locked on Travis Scott's next project, set to drop before year's end. If true, it could flip the entire industry against Drake, since Travis is one of the few megastars who still collaborates with him heavily. Imagine that betrayal unfolding in real time. Now the question hangs in the air. Will Drake find a way to reclaim his throne, or has Amsterdam marked the beginning of the end for hip-hop's chart king? One thing is certain. This battle is no longer about songs, it's about legacy. And the next move could decide who sits on hip-hop's throne for the next decade. And there you have it. Family, Kendrick Lamar and Drake just turned Amsterdam into the defining battlefield of hip-hop. The shots were fired. The crowd chose their king, and now the entire culture is waiting on the edge of its seat to see what happens next. But this is where you come in. Who do you believe really won this round, Kendrick, with his flawless performance and strategic dominance, or Drake with his silent but looming threat of a comeback? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now, because this isn't just my breakdown, this is OUR conversation. Hip-hop is built on the voice of the people, and your voice matters. If you've been riding with me through this war, smash that like button so this video gets pushed to every fan that needs to hear the truth. If you're new here and you want every update, every leaked rumor, every twist in this legendary feud, hit that subscribe and turn on those notifications, because I promise you, the next chapter is coming fast. And let me leave you with this. The greatest rivalries in hip-hop history, Pac versus Big, Nas versus Jay-Z, Pusha versus Drake. They didn't just shape careers, they shaped the culture itself. We are living through one of those moments right now. This isn't just beef. This is the battle for hip-hop immortality. The next move could be tomorrow. It could be a week from now, but when it drops, you better believe we'll be here breaking it all down. Stay locked in, because the war for the throne, it's far from over.